Hi there, I'm Bill Cherry, and I am a financial planner in Texas. And right now my office is in Dallas, where I live. But prior to that, I, for many, many years, lived in Galveston and in Houston. So most of my clients, believe it or not, are from that area, and the people that know me, and they know that I know what I'm talking about. I want to talk to you today about what is almost an infestation of problems that are being caused by things that have taken the place of wills to be probated with living trust, which don't have to be probated. And what I want you to do is I want you to listen to me as I talk to you about this, and I would appreciate it if you would share this little video with your friends. This is real important, I promise you. Here's what happens. The idea is that if the attorney transfers all of your property and so forth into ownership by the living trust, then the trust continues on after you have passed away. So there's no need for probate, okay? There's no need for probate. The bad part of that is there's no need for a judge seeing to it that it is abided by. When you have a will and it's probated, at that point in time, the executor is essentially instructed by the judge, this is what you got to do. And when you start doing it a little at a time, the court essentially looks to be sure that it's being done in its proper manner. When you have a living trust, oftentimes what happens is that a child, grown child, but nevertheless a child of the person who is setting up the living trust will be the trustee. And this whole document tells him or her as trustee what he's supposed to do. And the trust has beneficiaries. And so let's just say, for an example, that maybe the beneficiaries are your 3 children other than the child that is the trustee. So there are 4 people going to share somehow or another in your trust when you pass away. The amount of power you have given one of your children is enormous. It's enormous. And to make matters even more complicated, there is nothing set up to cause him to have to do what he has to do, which is what you told him to do and not what he wants to do. And the only way your children, your other children, can solve that problem is to sue him and the trust. All of those that I have ever seen, of which there are probably a gazillion, have it set up to where that if any child or any beneficiary contest what the trustee is doing, son number 1 for an example, then the trust pays for the trustee's legal fees and doesn't pay for those of the beneficiaries who are complaining and probably have a pretty darn good case as to why he needs to be either changed or told to do whatever, or in a court of law. So what ends up happening is the great amount of authority and everything is in the fact that your trustee virtually has very little need to worry about doing something he wants to do. For an example, let's assume that he gets mad at your daughter and he decides that your daughter is going to have to wait until he finally gets around to doing what he's told to do, or never gets around to doing it at all. Or what if he squanders the money on himself because he's paying himself a fee, which he's allowed to do in the trust. And there you are, all of a sudden he's living the life of Riley, and your other children are suffering from the lack of the same amount of ability. Look, if you have a living trust, please look at it and see if he has the authority to do pretty much what he wants to do without having to worry about legal fees. And if your children, the other beneficiaries, can't be paid or can't be reimbursed for their legal fees if they catch this guy doing bad stuff. It's real important. It's real important. And when you appoint somebody to do that, be sure they have enough business sense to be able to run things as they're supposed to be run. And make sure that if he doesn't do annual reporting, that's for an example, provided by a CPA from the records, that he can be replaced. Now, if you have one of these trust agreements and you wonder if it's kosher or not, on my terms, if you will Xerox a copy and send it to me, I'll be glad to look at it, and I'll write what my ideas are. And then you can take it either back to that attorney and say, fix it, or you can say, why did you do it this way? And he can defend it, and whatever you decide you want to do is up to you, but you at least ought to know that something is probably needs to be addressed. Okay? So that's it. And excuse me, the way you send it to me is WSCherry, CHERRY, @gmail.com. That's real easy to remember. WSCherry @gmail.com. If you would like to see my website, which I would love for you to look at because it's got a lot of stuff on there that's pretty interesting. And there's a lot of these things that I've done in the past that are, by the way, that are on YouTube, and you can watch those as well on all kinds of subjects. My website is WSCherry.com. WSCherry.com, and it all comes up, and there it is. If you need help in any of that sort of thing, call me. I can't tell you how many of these things I've had to help my friends and my clients, and even people when I was in the bank. I spent half my time straightening out people's messes that had been made for them by lawyers or accountants. And I don't understand why it's the way it is, and that's not an indictment of them. That's just the way it is. Okay? Thank you. Nice talking to you. See you next time. Bye-bye.